Her triumphs, I took a group of women that didn't believe in themselves, and I just believed in them. Her trials,
I never wanted to go to practice. I was losing a ton of weight.
her story,
I just put my faith in God and just trusted the system.
her why.
I want people to see what I did and say, oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to be better than that. That would be how I hope that this journey ends.
This is Her Why, where we tell the stories from BYU women's sports. Here is your host, Lauren McLean.
We're so glad you've joined us for Her Why, where we celebrate the women who make BYU sports great. The BYU women's golf team has wrapped up their first season in the Big 12, finishing 13th in the Big 12 championship. Even though they were not picked to participate in the NCAA regionals, Coach Roberts has said that the team had an amazing experience this season. She said they now know what they need to work on for next year. When we interviewed Coach Roberts a few months ago, she said she liked working with a young team as it allows her to mold her players. Back in February, we had the opportunity to sit down with one of these young players, Whitney Banz. The Westminster College transfer was playing in her first season for the Cougars after serving a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
You got back from your mission in Bangkok, Thailand about a year ago, and we'll talk more about your mission later, but was it hard for you to come back to golf after being away for 18 months?
It was definitely a challenge. On my mission, I got to play 9 holes once and hit at the driving range a couple times with the people that we were teaching, but it's definitely been a fun experience to get back into golf.
What was that like for you and your investigators? Were they super impressed? Is golf a big thing in Thailand? What was that like?
In the big city in Bangkok, there's some really, really good golfers. There's some on the LPGA tour, but mainly the places that I was serving, golf wasn't a very big thing. And there were some people that were super excited to learn how to do it. And we thought, what a great tool to be able to share with them about Jesus Christ and also to teach them how to play golf.
That's right. So. You're using the talents that God gave you to bless other people. I love it. Golf is such a mental sport, unlike any other sports, I feel like. What's been the hardest thing to work on since you've been back? Is it physical things like getting your swing back, or has it been the mental game?
I think something that has been a little bit challenging is to replicate the pressure of tournaments, because tournaments are so much fun, but you definitely get that adrenaline and just there's a different feel. And so I think being able to practice playing in tournaments again has been a fun experience.
So your junior year of high school, you lost an 8-hole sudden death playoff in the 5A championship. How did you move on from tough losses like that? Because we've been talking about the mental side of the game. How do you move forward from something like that?
Mm-hmm. It was really good motivation. I am really, really competitive, and I hate losing. And to go 8 extra holes and to lose on that last hole gave me so much motivation to keep working even harder. And at that point, I was actually running track in high school as well. And so I went straight to the district track meet right after. And it just showed me that sometimes we work our very, very best and it doesn't go exactly how we want, but that's when we keep working even harder. And so I think that's been a really big motivation for everything since then, to just keep working hard and that we will see those results eventually.
I love that. And as a very competitive person, it can be hard to kind of get in your own head. What are the tricks, or what are some of the things that you do to make sure you can kind of keep your emotions even keeled?
When I golf, I actually like to sing hymns to myself.
Really?
It might be a very different thing, but it helps me to remember what's most important and helps keeps me calm, because it's really easy to get outcome oriented in golf and think, oh, I have to shoot a certain score, I have to get this on this hole. But when I listen to hymns, it helps keep me grounded and then focus on what I have to do right there and the next shot.
The other golfers are like, what on earth is she singing? So weird. No, I think that's so awesome. All right, after your mission, you played in the Cache Valley Amateur Tournament where your brother was competing. What was that like, getting back into competitive mode so quickly?
It was so much fun. That was the first tournament that I played after getting home just a couple months later, and it was just so fun to see how my golf was in tournament play. And it was so fun to play with my brother. He's an incredible example to me, and he's a great golfer. And so it was really fun to just compete together.
Are you more competitive playing against your brother than other people just because it's your brother?
Probably a little bit.
Yeah. Are there any differences with playing with men than versus the women, or is it all just golf?
I like playing with both. I've played in quite a few men's tournaments the past as I got older, and I think it's so much fun because they're so good. So are women, but they hit it just a little bit farther.
Yeah.
And so it gives me a little extra competitive kick, I guess you could call it. I think it's so much fun to play with both, though.
You grew up in a golf family. Your dad is the assistant men's golf coach at Southern Virginia University. Your brother Austin golfed for BYU. Other brother Hayden golfed for Weber State, and your sister Sierra played golf and basketball for Southern Virginia. That is incredible. What was it like growing up with so many golfers and so many competitors in one family?
It was so much fun. I loved it. When I was younger, I actually didn't play golf. My brothers did. And so I would tag along to all their tournaments and cheer for them. And they were incredible examples. But eventually, I just decided that I wanted to play in a tournament. I wasn't even signed up for it, but I would go golfing with my brothers and then eventually my little sister almost every day. And they really pushed me to be better because they didn't go easy on me because they wanted me to be my best. And so it has been so much fun to play with them, especially as we've gotten better and better to compete with each other.
Was it an expectation in your family to golf, or did your parents kind of leave it up to you and you all just gravitated toward it?
A little bit of both. I actually grew up playing mainly basketball. And then I fell in love with golf as well. And so we were very sports oriented. And also gospel was the most important thing. But my dad really wanted us to play sports because it teaches so much. And so he had my brothers play golf. And I really liked basketball. I liked running. But eventually I fell in love with the golf too.
Who would you say is the best golfer in your family?
Ooh.
They're listening, I'm sure.
I would say we're all pretty good.
Oh, very diplomatic answer. Do you guys all play from the same tees, or do you play from different tees when you play with each other?
Right now we all play from the same tees.
Nice.
Usually the tips.
Okay. And did your dad get to coach all of you while you were growing up?
Yep, he's been our coach basically our whole lives. He's an incredible coach. I'm super grateful. He's made so many sacrifices to help us, but yes, he taught all of us.
That's so cool. How'd you get involved in basketball and golf? I mean, so you mentioned you kind of gravitated more towards basketball at the beginning. What was that like for you?
I started playing on a boys team in junior jazz, and it was so much fun. And I just loved the thrill of being able to hustle and steal the ball. And so I just played basketball on multiple club teams growing up. But it really helped to have golf as well, to have both of those sports that are very different in nature. I think they really helped me to succeed in both of them.
So why did you play on the boys team? Was there not an opportunity to play on the girls team, or that was just your choice?
I loved playing with the boys. It was just It was so fun, so competitive, and they never took it easy on me, and I loved that.
So cool. You played basketball and golf throughout high school, but you were also able to start your career as an educator. You worked as a teaching assistant for the special education class. What was that like for you?
It changed my life. It was, I just felt impressed one day, spiritually impressed that I needed to go serve. And that's where I was led. And it changed my life. It showed me what's most important. And that although I love sports, that serving others and helping them feel the love of Jesus Christ was the most important thing. And it's been such a blessing in my life to be able to work with such incredible people that are kind of like angels. So I've loved it.
Was there anyone specific that you really felt like you had a connection with in that class, or that you grew closer to?
There was one girl, and she would give the biggest hugs, the very biggest hugs. And I loved that. She didn't care who you were. She just loved you. And that influenced me to better love other people.
I love that. And it seems like those kids really made an impact on you. And then COVID came. Were you able to keep in contact with them during the pandemic? What was that like?
So we would have Zoom classes, Zoom video calls, and just talk to each other. And it was so much fun to get to see them and to just play games and talk to them. And there was a little boy that actually lived by me that I was able to go visit during COVID, and I visited almost every week since then. But it was really hard when I graduated in COVID to say bye to a lot of them. But I'm grateful for all the opportunities that I've been given to work in other areas like the Special Olympics and special needs dances and things like that to continue to work with them.
Incredible. What a cool experience. And you were recruited after high school by Utah Valley, Weber, and Westminster. Were you looking at any other schools during that time?
It was interesting. The recruiting process was unique for me because I was really blessed to be able to succeed in basketball and golf.
Yeah.
In basketball, I made some of the record books for state high school girls, and so some schools wanted me to play just basketball and some wanted me to play just golf, but I was really grateful for the opportunity to play both at Westminster, and I feel like I was led to go there, and it was a really wonderful opportunity to play both, but I'm super grateful to be able to play golf at BYU.
Is that something that you knew you wanted to do, like during the recruiting process, where you're like, I want to play basketball and I want to do golf? Or did it just kind of happen to play out that way?
I think a little bit of both. I loved both of them so much, and it was hard to think about giving up one of them. So I was super, super grateful to be able to play both.
How do you balance basketball and golf on top of going to college? How were you able to do that?
A lot of heavenly help for sure. It required a lot of prayer, and I learned how to manage my schedule so that some days I would go to basketball practice in the morning, go to a class, then go to golf practice, then do my schoolwork and work out and things like that. So it taught me a ton about being organized and managing schedules, and I think that was a huge blessing for me just in my life in general, is to learn how to manage all of those things.
How much did those two seasons overlap in kind of the training for both sports?
They overlapped almost the whole time. At the beginning of the golf season, basketball was a little bit less, there was a little bit less practicing because the season hadn't quite started yet. And then in the winter, it was a little bit more basketball, but then in the spring, they overlapped quite a bit. And it was cool because we went from a basketball game, came home, went straight to a golf tournament, and I was super blessed we actually won that tournament, and I won that one individually, and it was cool to see how maybe practicing wasn't exactly how I wanted, but it turned out to be a great blessing.
So cool. How were the coaches able to work with you through that? Because most coaches want their players just dialed into exactly what they're doing, right? So obviously you were very good. You were an exception. How did the coaches work with you through that time?
They were really flexible, and they were good friends with each other and gave me lots of opportunities to do both.
Okay. Who do you feel like were your biggest supporters throughout your freshman year?
My parents, for sure. They have been my biggest supporters my whole life, and they've sacrificed so much. They came to my tournaments. They spent countless hours with me doing extra practice, and I love them. I'm their biggest fan. They're my biggest fan. They're the best.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll learn why Whitney decided to put athletics on hold to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is her why. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean, continuing my conversation with Whitney Banz from the BYU women's golf team. So after your freshman year, you decided to put everything on pause, serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What led up to that decision?
There was a certain point where I just knew that I just felt super strongly that I needed to serve a mission. And it was really hard because sports was going well, school was going well, but I just knew Heavenly Father had given me so much, blessed me beyond anything that I ever could have dreamed, and I knew that I needed to give back in just a small way. And it was hard to put the sports on hold, but I would do it again. It was one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Was it something you knew you always wanted to do, or did it kind of creep up on you?
It kind of creeped up on me. When I was growing up, I never really, I didn't not want to go, but I never said I'm going on a mission. And one day I just felt really strongly that I needed to do it.
What were the reactions from your coaches and teammates when you told them that you were going to leave?
They were excited. I think it's hard, definitely, to lose a player that was a big part of the team, but they supported me, and I was grateful for that support.
You were called to the Thailand Bangkok mission. What was it like for you when you found out that is where you were going to be serving for 18 months?
I was super excited at first, and then I was a little bit scared. I think it's a little daunting I didn't really know much about Thailand. But there were so many different miracles. I played in a golf tournament the week after I got my call, and I'd been praying to know for sure that was the place I was meant to go. And I got paired with a girl from Thailand in the college golf tournament, and she taught me some Thai, and I actually had the opportunity to teach her parents in Thailand.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Did you seek them out, or did you happen to come across them when you were there?
I sought them out. I didn't know if I'd ever get to go to the area that they were in, but one transfer, I found out that I was going to their area, and I was so excited, and I knew that Heavenly Father played a huge role in having me meet her and then being able to meet her parents, and it was so cool. I actually went golfing. Me and my companion went golfing with her dad and some other people where they lived. It was so awesome.
Are you still in contact with her?
I talk to her frequently. Yeah.
Okay. What was it like when you met them for the very first time, when you kind of explained who you were and what you were doing to her parents?
It was kind of a moment of, it's kind of hard to describe, but I was so full of joy and gratitude that I never thought I would meet them. But to see how Heavenly Father works in small and simple ways, I was just so excited to see them and to share with them how incredible their daughter was, and about why I would give up golf for a little while to come. And I think that really, knowing how much I loved golf and their daughter loved golf, and that I would sacrifice that for a little while, really opened their hearts.
How cool. And probably so amazing for them to be able to hear about their daughter that was so far away, because that would be super difficult. So what a cool experience. Thai is a tonal language. What was it like trying to learn such a hard language?
It was hard. When I first saw it, I thought there was no way on earth that I would be able to learn it, because it's not the same alphabet and they use characters. But at Westminster, I actually was in a class that taught me a singing class. And when I started learning Thai, a lot of the tones were very similar to the class.
Oh.
So that was a little tender mercy, but it took a ton of prayer and hard work. And eventually, the gift of tongues is real, and I was able to learn it. It took a while, even in Thailand, to be able to understand what people were saying to me, because they spoke really fast. But it was cool to see how that hard work and Heavenly Father's help really, really helped me to learn it.
Let's hear you say something. How do you say thank you in Thai?
Khap kun ka.
Khap kun ka?
Yeah, that was really good.
But I mean, you mentioned it's kind of sing-songy. So are the tones very important when you're? It's more in the sentence structure, right?
Yes. So some words based on the tone mean very different things.
Okay. Wow. So when you first got to Thailand, was it a huge culture shock for you?
It was.
Yeah. What was that like?
It was very different. So many things it's very hot. It is super, super hot all the time, all year round. And so and I had come when it was snowing in Utah. And so that was a big thing. And people in Thailand, a lot of them aren't Christian. And so it was so cool to talk to people about Jesus Christ. And a lot of them didn't know who he was. And so that was different. And the food, very, very different, very spicy. That was fun to try new things. But I loved it. I loved it so much. I brought home multiple suitcases just of souvenirs. I just fell in love with it.
What would you say you miss most about Thailand?
Oh, that's a hard question. I miss almost everything. I miss the people. I loved them. I miss having that name tag. We got to ride elephants. That was so much fun. The food, I loved it. I would go back for sure.
What would you say is one of the greatest things you learned while serving the people of Thailand?
I would say one of the greatest things I learned was to be resilient. There was a lot of times where we would go from 10:30 to 9 p.m. out in the scorching heat and walk or ride our bike all day. And sometimes things didn't happen how we wanted them to. But that taught me that hard work pays off. Even when you can't see immediate results, even when things don't go how we want, that's when faith is really required. And so it taught me how to persevere and be resilient, even when things aren't going exactly how I want. And that's turned to be such a blessing in my life and everything since then.
Yeah, such a great life lesson. After your mission, you decided to come to BYU instead of returning to Westminster. How did that all come about?
When I was on my mission, I just felt that I was supposed to come to BYU. And I prayed, and Coach Roberts gave me this incredible opportunity to come represent Jesus Christ and BYU on the golf team.
When you got here, did you feel like you had to start all over again? Was that kind of a difficult transition for you?
In the golf sense?
Yeah, or just even a new place, a new college. You were playing basketball at Westminster. Now you're just focusing on golf. So did you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to start all over again? Or was it pretty easy?
I would say there's been some of both. I feel like I've been incredibly blessed. Heavenly Father's helped me so much, whether that's been in golf or in school. And I think so many of the lessons that I learned just throughout my life and in Thailand just really helped prepare me to be at BYU.
Basketball has been such a big part of your life for so long. So was that hard giving that aspect up to come to BYU?
It was a little bit, and I still play for fun sometimes. And I was in a 3-point contest for intramurals last week, and I actually won.
Yes!
But I think, when you spiritually know you're supposed to do something, it makes those sacrifices a little bit easier.
You are a very good 3-point shooter. Weren't you one of the best in high school? You are number 3 in Utah history or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Incredible. Well, yeah. Are you going to try out for Coach Whiting in the future? She's like, I don't know about that. Hey, you never know. We'll just leave that out there. You get the opportunity to work with 3-time WCC Coach of the Year, Carrie Roberts. We just had Carrie on the show, and she spoke really highly of the team. How would you describe Coach Roberts' coaching style?
She is incredible. I love her. I love how competitive she is. Every single day since the very first practice, the first thing she asks us at the end of practice is what was good. And that's made a huge difference for me because we focus on what went well and then what we can improve on. Recently, she's been really emphasizing self-confidence and how good we are. And I think knowing that somebody believes in you really helps you believe in yourself. That's made an incredible difference. And you can tell how much time she puts in outside of practice to helping us, whether that's stats or looking at motivational speakers or, mental coaches and things like that, just to help us get better. I'm so grateful for it. She's awesome.
What do you think is one of the things that, because you've been coached by your dad growing up, you've been coached by someone else at Westminster, you come here to BYU to Carrie Roberts. What do you think is unique to her that she brings to this program?
I think that emphasis on the good and how competitive she is. She just wants us to succeed so bad, and you can tell. And I just feel that, I know that she wants me to be my very best. And something that's super unique is she has many interviews with us all the time and asks us what's going well and what we can work on. And I think that's helped me a ton to put just plans together, me and her, about my golf game and what I'm going to improve, and things that are going well has made a huge difference.
We always mention that golf is such a mental game. What do you guys do to kind of relax and have fun as a team?
We do a lot of different little competitions, whether that's little team competitions or match play or little stats games, things like that, to make it fun. And we're still competing with each other so that we're getting better.
Okay.
But my team is the most incredible group of women that I've ever met. They are incredibly kind and love each other, and I think that just makes it even better to relax a little bit.
Yeah. What do you feel like is your biggest strength in golf?
My biggest strength? I would say my irons. I've been working a ton on irons since the beginning of the school year. And I also feel like a lot of the lessons that I learned in Thailand about, it rained a ton. It rained so much. And so when the weather is a little bit off, it doesn't bother me as much because I was in it for so long. And I think also learning how to keep going when things are hard has been really helpful for me in golf.
Okay. It's could be hard to talk about your weaknesses, right? But if you had one, what would you feel like is the one thing you really want to work on this season in your golf game?
Something that I really want to improve on is my short game. Just being able to get up and down from anywhere. I would love to continue to work on that. And I think just continuing to have a solid routine and to being decisive on every shot is something I want to work on too.
What were your expectations coming into this season here at BYU?
I knew that it was going to be hard and that it was going to be competitive. And so I just tried to mentally prepare for that competitiveness.
Yeah, the women's golf team, they're young. It's a very young team, and you're young. What's your favorite thing about being here on the BYU women's golf team, just surrounded by all the women that you get to see every day?
I think it's awesome how we push each other to get better. We have a board at Fox Hollow where we practice when it's snowing or things like that has we have different drills that we do every day, and we write down how we did in each of those drills, and it's amazing to see how everybody's encouraging each other to be better. But also, we're working so that we can be competitive, and I think it's so much fun. I love it.
How do you kind of balance that? Because on a team, you're competing against each other, even though you're on the same team, right? You're competing to get better and to get certain spots. So how do you balance the competitive side of that, but also wanting to be friends and because you're with each other every day?
I think something for me is I am competing against myself. I just want to be the very best that I can every time and get better every time. And I want them to succeed too. I'm cheering for them every time too, even though we are competing for different spots. I think just knowing that we're getting better together has been really helpful.
My last question for you is, I feel like there are a lot of young girls trying to make it to the next level in any sport. What advice would you give them and how you've made it so far in your career and how they can do it as well?
I would give a couple pieces of advice. I would say to keep working really, really hard because the hard work does pay off. I would put in extra hours every day for golf or basketball, and it was hard. It made me really tired, but it was so worth it. And another piece of advice I would say to remember what's most important in life. I think as I've tried to make the gospel the most important thing, and school and sports has really helped me to succeed versus putting sports above everything. I think when we have our priorities in the right places, things work out.
I love that. We're here with Whitney Banz from the women's golf team here on campus at BYU. Thank you so much for taking the time. You're incredible.
Thank you so much.
We've got some great episodes coming up for you in the next few weeks. Associate Athletic Director Whitney Johnson-Catt will join us for a special 2-part episode to talk about her role as the Director of Student Athlete Development, Diversity and Inclusion, and playing basketball. Plus, you'll hear from former Cougar soccer star and Utah Royals forward Brecken Mozingo. Annie Robinson and Sydney Simpson produced this episode. Cleon Wall is the senior producer. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio. Hey, Her Why listeners, we just want to let everyone know that Her Why's schedule is going to change the rest of the spring and during the summer. We're going to be dropping episodes every other week, so you won't hear from us next week, but we will have a brand new episode the week after that, and then every other week until the start of the fall sports season. Thank you so much for listening to the Her Why podcast, and make sure your friends know about the show and other great BYU Radio sports podcasts. We'll talk to you again in about 2 weeks.